Hello and welcome back to the EFL Extra Time podcast. I'm your host, Luke Wallace, and alongside me, as ever, are Jack Cross.
Hello, mate.
And Ollie Johnson.
How you doing, mate?
In this one, we're going to touch on the Championship, a good weekend for myself and Ollie. As you can see in front of you on the screen, Nottingham Forest rotten start has continued. Luton dropped points to their rivals Watford. Wycombe lost again. There was a goalless draw at Oakwell, a draw at St Andrews, and Reading moved top of the table, albeit briefly, with a win against Cardiff. On page 2, Blackburn thrashed Derby. There was a draw between Millwall and Brentford. Preston got beat by Stoke. A draw between QPR and Borough. Bristol City moved joint top with Reading on Sunday with a win against Sheffield Wednesday. And Bournemouth managed to sneak past Norwich. So let's start with the Friday night football then, boys. Huddersfield Town versus Nottingham Forest. A 1-0 win thanks to Fraser Campbell. If you're Sabri Lamucci, you're starting to panic, aren't you?
Yeah, I've never seen so much agility from Fraser Campbell before. But yeah, it's not the best start to the season for them. Three games, 3 losses. Like we said in the previews, if they lost this game, especially it's Huddersfield, who have been struggling as well at the start of the season, you imagine that he'll be looking over his shoulder. It's not normally too long some teams give managers in this league after a poor start.
Yeah, especially not Nottingham Forest. But looking at the stats, they haven't really played that badly. Again, last week as well, they just seem to be edged out a bit. But, I mean, they failed to score in their opening 3 games for the first time since 1974-75. But, I mean, they've got Lewis Grabban in the squad and they brought in Lyle Taylor. So what's going wrong?
Yeah, I mean, you imagine it must just be a defensive issue when you look at that and you see what players they have on the team sheets, but only 4 shots on target for them in the game. It's not great. 14 shots and more possession, so they're obviously creating stuff. But yeah, like it's just need to get them going and get them having more shots on target and actually finishing some shots.
For Huddersfield then, the first win of the season, can you see him kicking on from this, or do you think this was a bit of a freak result?
Well, obviously they'll, no matter what Nottingham Forest start is, Huddersfield will see it as a decent result. Obviously they hadn't won yet, and obviously Forest are the same team as last year, so and with a few additions, so they'll see that as a decent result, especially how Huddersfield played last year. But yeah, I'm not sure. Be interested to see what they do from here. Whether it was just sort of a bit of a blip at sort of a winning blip. They get the 1 win, then go on a bad run again. But yeah, I'd be interested to see what the manager does now, moving forward.
Are they a side that are going to be looking more towards the bottom of the table than the top of the table throughout this season?
Probably, but it's hard to say after 3 games. Like, obviously, new manager, and he might need, as long as they give him a bit of time, I can see maybe it starting to work eventually at some point. But yeah, I think this season I can't see them getting any further above top, like mid-table, to like sneaking into the top half. Probably just bottom half of the table, but I can't see them being in a relegation battle.
Well, I don't know. I reckon I could. But let's move on then to the derby that was on Saturday, which was between Watford and Luton. And judging by the stats, I mean, Luton were outclassed by Watford, weren't they? I mean, they didn't even register a shot on target.
No, yeah, I think it was a well-deserved win for Watford, and to be honest with you, but it's something we'd expect from a team that have managed to keep a lot of their key players, and also it's only going to put them in good stead now that they've got 1 or 2 key players getting back into the squad in full fitness. So, yeah, very much deserved win, obviously, getting all the shots off. But in terms of possession, it was quite even. But I think just for Watford, I think they needed to have a win. Probably could have done with scoring a few more goals after having a disappointing exit in the League Cup. But a win's a win, so they'll take that.
Do you think they'll be that disappointed by their League Cup exit? Isn't it just a bit of a distraction this season? Isn't their main target promotion?
No, I just think it would have been a disappointment the way it happened as well, because they were pretty much out done by Newport County. But like you said, it would have been a distraction. They probably could do without the extra games, and just focus a bit more on the league position, because I imagine they'll want to bounce straight back up to the Premier League.
Yeah, the goal coming from João Pedro. Obviously, he's still quite a youngster. What are you expecting from him this season?
Well, yeah, it was early days, isn't it? Here, but if he can continue and run like that, because Luton have performed well, in all fairness to them, the first couple of games, so it would have been quite a tough test for them to get the 3 points there. So yeah, if you can continue to do it against good sides like Luton, who could potentially give us a bit of a shock this season, then good on them.
Yeah, for Luton, the last game they lost was 4-0 at home to Reading, and after that they managed to bounce straight back in the league. You expecting the same here?
Yeah, I mean, I think next week they've got Wycombe at home, who haven't been performing well, but I'm sure we'll come on to that. So I think they'll be expecting to try and take the 3 points there and maintain their position towards the top end of the table.
Yeah, the game after their last defeat was a 1-1 draw to Barnsley, and then a 2-0 win against Huddersfield. So it'd be interesting to see if they can get that run going again. We're going to move on, though, actually, to Wycombe, to Adams Park. Another early kickoff on Saturday on Sky this time. A 2-0 win for Swansea. Ayew and Lowe with the goals. Plenty of the ball, Ollie. Outclassed Wycombe, didn't you, really?
Yeah, especially like first half. I think I remember looking at the score 15 minutes in, thinking we should have been 4 up, but I think that was down to complacency of the Swans, really. Swan strikers, they should have taken their chances. We had some good chances for first 15 minutes, but I think you said, Wycombe barely, I think they had about 9 passes in our half first half or something stupid, didn't you say like that? So it basically sums up what happened. Having seen both the goals, I think we're playing good. We're playing that old style of football, that I always said was typical for us. So bringing in the wing backs and Jake Bidwell as well, who had a bit of a up and down season last year. He was really good on Saturday, sort of filling in well in that sort of left wing back position. So that could become really dangerous for us. And I'm also quite glad now that our 2 strikers have got off the mark for the season. Hopefully they can continue that goal scoring run.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about the game as it was on, and I mean, you guys, it could have been a cricket score, couldn't it, really?
Oh yeah, no, I've got to be honest, I was fairly disappointed that it was only 2-0. I was quite annoyed, like I said, after 15 minutes, because there were 4 chances where we should have scored, but didn't. So I think by the end we could have been out of sight by half time, but I think we didn't. I think we just looked to keep the ball really second half and just play out for the win, which is fair enough. But it would have been promising to see. They probably could have gone on and scored another 2 or 3, realistically. So, but I think, like you said, if we're going to play that sort of football where we're just going to keep the ball, then we've proved over the past 3 games that it's hard for teams to take it off us, and also we've not conceded a goal yet this season. So hopefully we can continue that for a short while longer.
Yeah, for Wycombe, I mean, the result leaves them 23rd, but -8 already in terms of goal difference. The transfer window's still open. Is it defenders they need to sign, or do you think they need a striker that's going to take the limited opportunities they're going to be able to create this season?
Well, I think we've said this style of football hasn't necessarily suited to the Championship as it did in the promotion season last year. I did see somewhere that Wycombe could get relegated without winning a game, which is highly possible at the minute because, like we said, we completely played them off the park at the weekend. So I think they probably haven't necessarily invested in the right areas where they have done. Like, I think they probably need both defenders and a striker, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, because they didn't look great defensively at all. And I know Andre Ayew is a class player for the Championship, but like Jamal Lowe, Morgan Gibbs White, they were all just getting around. Just the play around them. It was just, they were playing a bit higher than their ability, I think, some of them players. So I think they need to invest wisely in the next week.
Yeah, still got a little while to go yet, so Wycombe will probably need to bring some more quality in if they want to stay in the division like Barnsley did last year. So let's head off to Oakwell. They hosted Coventry, not the most entertaining game in the world, a 0-0 draw. Is this to be expected from two sides that are going to be pretty close to each other at the end of the season?
Yeah, I think Barnsley obviously will be happy they've finally picked up a point, first point of the season. I think Coventry, yeah, like you said, because they'll both be, would expect, battling around the same area in the league. I think they'll probably take a point, especially away from home, but they might have been slightly obviously winning last week to then coming away and drawing someone that you'd imagine would be has had a worse well they've had a worse start than them. So yeah, but I think they'll take the point.
In terms of Coventry, I mean, the result does lift them into the top half, but how long do you expect them to stay there?
It's hard to say at the minute, but because obviously they had that brilliant win at home, but if they can get a few more of them and keep picking up points same there away from them, I think they'll be alright. But I don't know how much longer they'll stay around where they are at the minute. I think they'll probably drop down a bit.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a much better spot than Barnsley. I mean, the result leaves them in 20th. They haven't moved up any places. Will they be disappointed with their start, or will they just be happy to have a point on the board already?
Yeah, I think they'll be happy to get the point on the board. Probably hasn't happened as quickly as they'd have liked before the season started, but I think they'll try and get we'll try and get them kicking on now. But yeah, I can imagine it's still been a struggle for them this season.
Yeah, go on then. A prediction then from each of you. Which side's going to finish higher in the table come May?
Coventry for me.
Yeah, I was going to say Coventry as well.
All right, back in the Sky Blues then. On to their current home then, St Andrews. Birmingham City hosted Rotherham United. Two late penalties in this game, in the 87th and 90th minutes for a 1-1 draw. I mean, out of this, Rotherham will come away happier, won't they?
Yeah, but also disappointed because it probably looked like the 3 points are in the bag, but maybe that's just a bit of defensive complacency at the end. So, yeah, but likewise, for a team that have just been promoted again from League One, to go against a side that, to be fair, have had a good start to the season in Birmingham, I think an away point there would be quite a good result for the side.
Yeah, well, Ita Karan could be disappointed not to take 3 points from this. Does this show flashes of Birmingham from last season that he's trying to get rid of in the squad?
I don't think so. I think they probably should have scored more based on the amount of chances they had. But I don't think so. I think it's another point on the board for Birmingham, and I think he's just going to want to keep adding them points and keep them on a bit of a run because they are actually playing quite well.
Yeah, I mean, the result, obviously we'll come to the table in a bit, but the result still leaves Rotherham as well in quite a good position, up in 14th. Do you see him sticking around there, or do you see him slipping away a little bit?
Who, Rotherham?
Yes.
Well, I think Huddersfield up next, so that would be a game that they could probably test themselves to see if they can get another win. But I think, if they can keep a decent run, because they haven't, to be fair, they're another team that haven't been terrible since the start of the season, Rotherham. So, yeah, if they can get another win here and there and another draw here and there against the sort of top half side, then there's no reason why they couldn't push for a mid-table finish or maybe higher.
Yeah, I definitely think the Rotherham fans would take that. Right, on to the Cardiff City Stadium then. Reading ran out 2-1 winners against Cardiff to move themselves top of the table on Saturday night. I mean, this was a tight game. Both teams had their chances. Would you expect Cardiff to be pushing up the table a little bit more?
Yeah, I think obviously only 3 games in. I think only 1 win from those 3 games, they'll be disappointed. But I think they can definitely kick on. But it's hard to tell, obviously, after 3 games, how far they're going to kick on. Like, Well, obviously Reading had a brilliant start, but don't know how long they're going to stay up there for. Can see them staying up there for a while if they keep playing as they are. But then you could say the same for Cardiff if they keep playing how they have been. Tightish game for them against you. So yeah, I can imagine them kicking on a bit, trying to push up top half, if not trying to push into the playoffs again.
Yeah, I mean, for Cardiff, the game really changed for them when Lee Tomlin came on again, and we said that time and time again over the last couple of seasons. I mean, he's not the most attractive player in the world. Is that the thing that's stopping him from getting a move to the Premier League?
Yeah, maybe. But I feel like this might be just his division, and the fact that he can come on and like sort of change the game, put you under pressure slightly. Probably left it a bit too late when he scored his goal, but yeah, I feel like that could be a reason why he's not got to the Prem yet. But Cardiff obviously need someone to start scoring goals. But I don't know if you've seen that Callum Patterson looks to be going to Sheffield Wednesday, so that's another goal scorer they're losing.
Yeah, he was very important for them at the end of last season. For Reading, another big win. The first time they've won their opening 3 games since 1984, 85, 86, sorry. 35 years, their best ever start to a second division season. How much better can it get, do you think? I'm going to try and stay impartial on this one.
Obviously, if the new manager's come in, obviously implementing his what he wants, and seems to be working at the minute. And I think you've got a tough game this week. I think you've got Watford, haven't you? That's going to be a tough game. So it'll be interesting. I think we'll see. We'll have more of an idea after that game how you're going to do, sort of who you can battle with towards the top end of the league. And if you can't win in that one, then yeah, things looking positive for you this year.
Yeah, I think you're right. Watford will be a massive challenge, and Redden had the likes of Felipe Araruna and Lucas João go off injured at the weekend. So if we're missing them going into that game and haven't got, especially at right back, if we haven't brought anyone in to replace him, we'll be very, very worried. Let's move on then to the headline-making scoreline of the weekend, really. Derby County 0, Blackburn Rovers 4 at Pride Park. And 3 of the goals coming in the open 15 minutes. I mean, at the minute, it's all set up for Rooney to be in at Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just. I think personally, on Derby's part, complete defensive blunders, mate. Absolutely shocking. The fact that you can concede 3 in the first 15 minutes and also contain most of the possession in the game is just rubbish. It really is. Like, I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, I think manager's going to be out. And like I said, Rooney will probably might get a managerial chance soon.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about this a lot last week, but Derby at 62.5% in possession and did nothing with it. All the ball and did nothing with it. Will that anger Philip Cocu, or do you think he'll look to try and take positives from that?
I don't know how many positives you can take from that, really, because I mean, they haven't got anything from the game, and they're 4 goals down on their tally, on the board. So it's rubbish, like really awful. But likewise, mate, Blackburn are looking really strong. I think they scored 5 in last week's fixture as well. So they're in really good goal scoring form. So they could be potential contenders for a playoff or automatic promotion finish.
Yeah, you're right. They beat Wycombe 5-0 the week before. I mean, where did Derby go from here? I mean, technically the only way is up because they're in the relegation zone, but I don't know.
I'm not sure signing Jordan Ibe is a fantastic addition to their squad, especially with certain players that they lost. I think like we mentioned, I think they need better defensive players now. You have to sit. What's the name? Went to Newcastle. I think they're just in real trouble at the minute. I think they will be as well. Come Christmas and maybe end of the season.
Yeah, obviously they did lose their fullbacks over this transfer window and haven't really replaced them yet. For Blackburn, well, we're backing them to finish this season. We know Tony Mowbray knows how to win games of football. How far can you take this side?
Well, no, in my opinion, no reason why they can't finish at least in the playoffs. After having an opening day defeat, they've certainly pulled it back with the 2 previous games, and 9 goals in 2 games isn't bad going, is it? So if they can stay anywhere like that sort of form, then they're going to be right up there.
Yeah, let's move on then to 2 teams we expect to be up there as well. Millwall and Brentford, a 1-1 draw at the Den. Both goals coming in the opening 25 minutes. The early goal came from Jed Wallace from Millwall. Will they be disappointed they didn't hold on to that advantage?
Yeah, obviously they'll be disappointed, but I think to score that early against Brentford, Brentford are gonna come back at you and just put pressure on you. I think. Well, I was saying that Brentford only had 1 shot on target in the end, and they scored from a penalty. So I don't know how much attacking threat they were posing on them, but positive for Brentford. Ivan Toney getting his first goal in the league, so he'll be happy with that. But yeah, you could see Millwall obviously wanting to be winning their home games. They might not be very happy having drawn 2 of them.
Yeah, I mean, are they their own worst enemies by giving that penalty away? Because it really does look like Brentford didn't challenge them. Because the Millwall keeper didn't have to make a save either.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You just gotta. You can't. You'll make your own downfall if you keep giving away like silly penalties or just not being defensively solid. Which at home Millwall have sort of always been known to be quite hard to beat. So it'll be something they wanted to change, and especially after how they were playing last season. But I think 5 points from the first 3 games, they won't be too disappointed from it. Still haven't lost a game. I think overall they would have took that.
Yeah, for Brentford then, a first goal for Ivan Toney will be a penalty. We expected him to really kick on from this position now.
Yeah, maybe. I think obviously he'll be looking to score a few more, obviously coming to replace Ollie Watkins. But another positive for him, we might have Ben Rama back because he was back in the squad. The first game he was on the bench, came on for the last 20 minutes or so. So that's a lot more creativity for him. We don't know if he's going to stay or not, but obviously it's a lot positive signs if he's back in the squad. So that will give them a lot of confidence if he is going to stay, and that's a lot more goals as well coming from him.
How much of an effect do you think Benrahma can have? I mean, Watkins scored so many goals last season. Yes, there's more creativity, but does it not still come down to Toney having to finish those chances?
Yeah, it does, but I think just we know Benrahma can score goals as well, like we saw last season. But yeah, like you said, Ollie Watkins was like the key goal scorer, and Ivan Toney's coming to replace him, so he has to try and follow in his footsteps and be scoring the main guy scoring the goals. So yeah, he'll have to start finishing some more from open play, not just scoring penalties.
Yeah, let's move on then to Deep Dale, and Preston will be massively disappointed to come out on the wrong side of a 1-0 scoreline. Lee Gregory with the goal for Stoke. I mean, this is a massive result for Stoke, isn't it? Claiming a scalp like this.
Yeah, definitely. It's their first win of the league campaign, so they're good to get off the mark there. I think especially having a relatively poor season last year, I think they're going to now look to push slightly higher up the table and hopefully on their part try and get back to the playoffs and maybe a promotion push. So yeah, good to get off the mark then. But like you said, it was quite an even game if you go on chances created. So yeah, I think they're probably quite lucky to get the win.
Yeah, it lifts Stoke up 3 places into 15th, but for Preston, winless this season, only a point on the board, sitting in 19th. I mean, there's some pretty big teams down there in and around them. Will they be worried yet? Or, I mean, is this only the first 3 games of the season? Will they look to just bounce back as quickly as they can?
Yeah, I'm not sure they'll be worried just yet because I don't think they've actually played that badly. I mean, you look at teams like Forest and Derby, etc. They haven't performed well, so they'd be worried if you were their manager and probably the chairman, etc. But I think Preston, especially I know against us first game of the season they weren't terrible, so I think they've still got a lot to do, and I think they definitely won't be down there by the end of the season. I'd probably give them a few weeks before they're high up the table. I think they might be able to get another win or two in the next couple of games, or to get the first win of the season. Sorry.
Well, for Alex Neil, I mean, he's been there a while now. You don't think he could run out of steam at all?
He might do, but I think it's again. I'm going off performances, mate. I don't think they've performed bad enough. Yes, results haven't come in, but they, like you said, they had their chances to win the Stoke game. They had their chances definitely against us in the first game of the season. So they're there. They just need to take them. And they need to score them goals. So which they're not doing, unfortunately, at the minute.
Yeah. For Stoke, does this lay down a massive marker that they are proper playoff contenders this time around?
Yeah, because I think they had a decent end to last season, but I think just poor form consistently throughout probably hurt them a bit. So they've got a couple of tough games coming up. I think Birmingham and Luton, which will be tough tests. But I'd like to see them higher up the table because I think I know certain stuff, but they're probably too big a club to be getting relegated or before being lower down.
You say too big a club, but Sunderland are down there, Ipswich are down there, Hull are down there. The reputation means nothing.
I know, but I don't think Stoke are performing bad enough yet to warrant a relegation, to be fair. But you look at the way Sunderland performed their last couple of seasons in the Premier League, and then obviously how poor they were when they came down to the Championship. Stoke haven't been like that. They performed, in their 10 years in the Premier League before getting relegated, they performed well, qualifying for Europe. And it was only like the last season or two that the wheels fell off. And even, 2 seasons ago, they were didn't do badly in the Championship. I think it's just a bit of poor form last year. It cost them a bit. So I'd like to see him higher up this season.
Yeah, I can agree with that one. And I think Michael O'Neill is a very good manager. Back to Preston again, last point for this game. If you're Alex Neil, will you be particularly disappointed with Tom Barkhazen with the red card? Do you think that's what cost Preston?
Do you know what I probably did in the end? Because I think it was just probably a fairly close game regardless. Enough chances either way. So the game was there to be won, I think. But yeah, I think maybe having a man less on the field probably did cost them.
Yeah, right. On to another draw then, this time at the Kian Prince Foundation Stadium between QPR and Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough took the lead. Will they be disappointed not to hold on for the win, or do you reckon they would have taken a point before the game?
I think they'll definitely have taken a point. Obviously, QPR haven't had too bad a start to the season. Obviously, 1-1, drawn 1, lost 1 now. But yeah, I think obviously Middlesbrough taking the lead. They would have been disappointed they couldn't have held on a bit longer. Less than 10 minutes or something they held the lead for. So something that Neil Warnock will look at. Obviously trying to be more defensively solid this year. Well, I feel like they would have took the point before the game. From the stats, it looked like QPR were on top for the majority of the game. Yeah,
held the lead for 9 minutes, and it was Samuel with the goal. He's still at the club for now, but being linked away. How important is it for QPR that they keep hold of him, having lost Eze and Hugo and all the rest?
Yeah, I think that's massively important. I think, like you say, obviously losing goal scorers like Eze and Hugo, I think they would have looked to keep him. Out of them all, probably more chance of keeping him, but like you say, obviously people, clubs circling around any decent players in the Championship. There's always clubs looking to improve their squads, and still a week or so, or a week today, I think transfer window finishes. So yeah, they'll be trying to hold on to him for another week. But then on the other hand, for Middlesbrough, they've brought in Chuba Akpom, experience in the Championship, 2 promotions with Hull and Brighton. So that's experience they'll be happy to have brought in.
Yeah, I think the international transfer window shuts this time next week. Obviously, we're recording this on a Monday, as you'll be able to tell. But then I think the domestic transfer window goes on for like another week. I'm not sure. So yeah, they might have a little while longer to hold on to him. Let's move to Sunday. Bristol City versus Sheffield Wednesday. A 2-0 win for the Robins sees them go joint top of the table with Reading. Same wins, same goals conceded, same goals for. Reading and Bristol City, the challenges you'd expect come May, or do you think they could drop off?
Well, I think both sides have probably been, with all due respect, shockers to be in the top two places. Reading obviously didn't have the season they would have wanted. Probably, your form at the start may have damaged you last year, and I think Bristol fell off towards the end. So, definitely not two I would have expected, but two that have probably performed the best consistently over the 3 games that we've played. So, it's a great win for them.
Yeah, I think, for Reading, form definitely did cost us at the start of last season. We had to sack Jose Gomez, and City sacked Lee Johnson. For Sheffield Wednesday, we said we'd been impressed by their start. Is this a bump back down to earth for them, or do you think?
On performance, not great. Probably a typical Gary Monk performance, not being able to keep the ball. So, and not taking chances. I'm still slightly concerned about his striking ability. I do like Josh Windart, but I don't think somebody like. I think he's probably going to get their most goals, but I don't think he's going to be enough. I think they're going to need an extra backup, and probably somebody like like they had Connor Wickham was Premier League level towards the end of last season. But I think they're going to need somebody of that sort of calibre to take them over the line. But they're not down and out yet, but because they have been performing well. But I just need to see a bit more from Gary Monk's side.
I mean, they have still got the likes of him there and Jordan Rhodes. I still think they've definitely got quality in this squad, don't you think?
I don't think it's enough, though. I don't. It's all well and good having a bit of quality here and there, but I don't think it's enough. I really don't.
It's enough to get them out of trouble, though, isn't it? I mean, they won't be challenging top half, but enough.
Yeah, no, but does he? What the point is? Do they want to be that sort of club that aren't going to be? Do they want to be just like a championship club that sit about mid-table? They're going to be a team that were playoffs a couple of years ago. They're going to want to be there again. I'm not sure they've got a team 1 to 11 that can facilitate that.
Yeah, true. I guess. Will they bounce back from this? Do you think straight away? I mean, they did make a decent start to the season.
Honestly, I'm not sure. It was a decent start. We'll give it to them, but I just think it's a lot to do, especially for Gary Monk, who's been under a lot of scrutiny as the manager, like in the way he plays, and they're still on minus points. I think as soon as they can get to all square, 0 points, and then they start kicking on from there. I think then we might see what they can do, but until then, I think they just need to get points and get them fast, and it just wasn't good enough, realistically.
Yeah, maybe showing the difference between Bristol City, who were able to hang on to a playoff challenge last year, and Sheffield Wednesday, who won. Let's move on to 2 of the relegated sides. Then they met at Dean Court, a 1-0 win for Bournemouth. But does it look like they were lucky to come away with the win, looking at the possession stat?
Maybe, but you can't. Possession doesn't always mean that the other team's playing a lot better than you. I mean, Bournemouth could if they're just letting Norwich pass the ball about, but they're not doing anything with it. It's not like they're all over them or threatening them a lot. The like shots and target stats were basically even. Norwich just having one more shot. So yeah, it was interesting to see that it was that close actually, because obviously Bournemouth have lost a lot of key players, but still have a lot of quality players in the squad. But the fact Norwich have lost like one key player also out the squad and added to it with like Jordan Hugo on the bench, I think they would have expected a lot more from them, to be honest. But a 1-0, I think Bournemouth would have taken that. Obviously, like you say, both of them were in the Prem last year. Solid start for Bournemouth, and Josh King back on the bench as well, which is promising.
Does it look like he's now going to be staying at Bournemouth, do you think, Josh King? Is he the kind of guy that can power them towards the top of the table with his goals?
I mean, he definitely he has the ability to. It's just obviously he keeps being linked to a move away, and we know what can happen in the last few days of the transfer window. So I'm sure they'll be prepped for that and have people in mind to replace him if he does go. But yeah, things can change quickly. So, but I'm hoping to keep him, like you say, he can definitely fight the goals in to get them back into the Prem.
Do you think this was a 6-pointer in terms of promotion and playoff races? Yeah, do you think it was a 6-pointer? Do you think Norwich will be doubly disappointed not to take anything from this?
I think Norwich will have seen it as a game to see sort of where they are for this league, and I think the gameplay is fairly even, so I think they'll be happy in that fact. But yeah, it could be too early to say whether it's a 6-pointer or not. But obviously, it's a very important game. And Norwich obviously got a bit of catching up to do to get into those playoffs, if not automatic spots.
Yeah, certainly could be one they look back to because it is a result that leaves Norwich in the bottom half of the table again now, having been in the playoff places before kickoff. Onto the table then, Bristol City lead the way. They're joint top with Reading. Will be interested to see how long those two can hold on to those positions. Ollie just behind my club Reading in third. They move up 5 places. Will win this weekend, just ahead of Bournemouth, who stay in fourth. Ollie, happy with the way that looks for now?
Yeah, for now, I wouldn't mind going 1 or 2 places above that, but yeah, that'll be all right for me.
I'll give you 1 place. We can both jump Bristol City next weekend. That would do quite nicely. Rounding out the playoffs are Watford and Blackburn, who have the best goal difference in the league. They're ahead of Luton, who moved down 4 places, and Birmingham, who slipped to 8. Rounding out the top half are Millwall, Brentford, QPR and Coventry, with Brentford, QPR and Coventry all making up ground this week. They're ahead of Norwich, who are the big losers this week, who slipped 8 places, ahead of Rotherham, Stoke City and Cardiff, who will be disappointed with 2 defeats in their first 3 games. Huddersfield move up 4 places away from danger a little bit. They're ahead of Middlesbrough, Preston and Barnsley. Nottingham Forest are the last club safe. Boys, there's some pretty big clubs down here. Huddersfield, Middlesbrough, Preston and Forest, all just above the drop zone. Will any of them be staying there for the foreseeable, do you think?
Some of them definitely could be. I think we expect Middlesbrough to kick on. Huddersfield, we're not quite too sure yet. Forest, you can't see them improving anywhere really at the minute. So, yeah, Preston, obviously, Alex Neil, you'd expect them to kick on a little bit more and be safe. But yeah, you never know in this league, really.
Yeah, it could be a long old season for some surprising clubs. And then your bottom 3 are Derby, Wycombe and Sheffield Wednesday, who are on -8 points. Can we see any of those bottom 3 getting out anytime soon? Obviously not Sheffield Wednesday, they've got a lot of ground to make up, but the other 2?
Yeah, I can see Derby out of the 3. I think they're probably more famous to get out, but like others like Forest and Wycombe, you can't really see anything changing drastically at the minute. Just there's no real positives coming out of there at the minute.
Yeah, that is it for this week. A pretty positive week all in all, especially if you're me and Ollie. Boys, thank you very much for joining me.
No worries.
1 week to go in the transfer window, and we'll be back later on this week previewing next weekend's action. Other than that, thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.